some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace full of memories but no longer your style. Duke's Jewelers reimagines family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Working one-on-one, Duke's designers honor the original story while creating something fresh and modern. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com, where old stories become new treasures.
Welcome to the KSL Real Estate Show. Hear updates on the national and local Utah real estate markets. We cover residential and commercial properties. Plus, get inspiring ideas to make your house a home from our sponsor, Osmond Designs. Here's Heather Osmond and Jeff Caplan on KSL News Radio.
Welcome to the KSL Real Estate Show. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jeff Caplan. Heather Osmond is here from Osmond Designs. Her stores are in Lehigh and Orem.
Yes, they are. And if you're thinking about refreshing your home this year, come and see us at Osmond Designs. We have beautiful new furniture collections and inspiration waiting just for you. Today, we have a fantastic guest joining us. Her name is Jacinda. She's a professional loan officer who helps Utah families navigate one of the most important financial decisions of their lives, financing a home. She's a regular on the show. We love having her. Jacinda, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to see you again.
So first and foremost, please tell us a little background about yourself and how you became interested in the lending industry.
Well, I have been in the industry for over 20 years. I love what I do. And you have kind of two different types of loan officers. There's the kind that are very salesy, I guess is one way to put it. And I'm more the into the weeds, right? I'm the one that's like knows the underwriting guidelines and exactly how to get it done and which is the best lenders to put it to. And so I'm not a super salesy person. I'm more just focused on educating my clients and getting them into the best products and the best rates and the lowest closing costs. And thank goodness I haven't ever had to be salesy. My clients are the ones that do my marketing for me.
Well, and you do a great job, and referrals and, a friend recommending another friend is the best kind of salesmanship.
And I've still never done any marketing whatsoever, not even on Instagram. I'm like, that's just such a free one. But I just, I don't love to sell myself. It's more, I love my job. And I think, and I hope that my clients see that, hear that, feel that throughout their process. And it's just more, I'm able to just focus on them and not have to focus on growing my business.
You're doing a great job, clearly. I wanted to ask you, what are you seeing right now in Utah lending market?
Well, we are on fire still in a lot of ways. So it's actually still kind of a buyer's market, thank goodness. And I'm super grateful for that because one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is a 3-2-1 buy down. Now, I'm sure you've heard of this, and some people may have not. So I wanted to explain it in the fact that right now, because we are in a bit of a buyer's market still, you're able to get quite a bit of money still from the sellers to help you out in buying your home. I had one of my clients call me yesterday, and he's working with a builder, and the builder is going to offer him $25,000 to go for his closing costs. And he called me and said, hey, how far can I buy my rate down if I just put that whole $25,000, right? And when I'm looking at it, it was actually just a little bit under 1%. I mean, it would save him about $230 a month. And he's like, is this what you would do? And I'm like, no, we've talked about this before, but I want to tell you why I wouldn't recommend this. A 3-2-1 buy down, what that means is that for the first year, your effective rate is 3% lower. So in his case, it was like 2.5% for that first year. What we would not give to get back to the 2.5% mark, on the interest rates.
25 homes exactly. At that time. What were we thinking?
Exactly. But I'm like, yeah, your first year, it's a 2.5% interest rate. Wouldn't that be amazing? And then the second year, your effective rate is 3.5%. And the third year, your effective rate is 4.5%. So what that meant in savings to him was he saved over $900 a month on that first year, over $600 a month on that second year, and $300 a month on that third year. Now, that is pretty impactful when you're looking at your mortgage payment. And I'm like, you permanently buy down a rate, and guess what? In a year when rates come down, you could have got that rate for free. And if you had done a buy down you just lost $25,000. And by doing it this way, that $25,000 100% gets into your pocket one way or the other. Because even if we refinance you, like let's just say rates drop 1%, he's like, you know what, I want to take advantage of this right now. When I refinance him, all the money that was set aside to subsidize his payment would then go toward his loan amount. So he doesn't lose a penny of that. And it's just one of the most powerful and impactful ways to really help you get into a home now and be more comfortable with that payment while we're waiting for these rates to look good.
Okay, Jacinda, you're talking past one part of your audience. That's me. First of all, how do I get a 3-2-1?
Well, you do need to buy a home if that's
Sure.
on the market. So yes, when you go to buy a homes, and this is why I want you to jump on it now, because there are sellers that are willing to give that much in closing costs. So right now, like I said, this guy, the closing cost to do that 3-2-1 buy down was just over $21,000. And that sounds like a lot of money, but the sellers, when they're selling their home, they may have $600,000 of equity and they're willing to give that to the buyer in order to incentivize them to get into the home. Now, this also speaks to those who are trying to sell your homes. One of the things you can offer and advertise is either a 3-2-1 buy down, or even if you just want to do a 2-year buy down where it's just 2% for that first year and 1% for that lower, that second year. But that really, really helps people get into that home ownership dream and feel good and afford these payments while we hope and wait for these rates to come down.
So it's basically a big mortgage break in your first year, medium in the second year, a little in the third year. After that, you're paying market rate, correct?
You're paying what you close your loan at. So it's what is market rate today, but you have a 3-year lead time that allows you to get that lower rate. Now, in this guy's case, it was 5.5 interest rate, which isn't bad anyway. So worst case, that's a 30-year fixed rate, and that's what he's going to get for the 30 years. But that's way more powerful to get him down lower for those first few years, get him used to making those payments for one, and then allowing a permanent reduction in interest rate when it comes available.
Okay, I'm going to ask a second semester question. Does this impact the amortization table?
Nope.
Whoa. Did not expect that answer.
No.
That's awesome.
I mean, when you refinance, obviously you can reset that, but if that's something that's important to you, you can refinance to a 27-year loan instead of a 30-year. However, if you consider that depending on when you do refinance, you're having that principal amount go right to your loan amount. So in essence, you're not actually borrowing as much as you did the first time. And really, what we have set aside for you is now paying for your refi. So you get a free refi to boot. So it can be pretty dang powerful. I love the 3-2-1 buy downs. I've had many of my clients do them, and they are super grateful.
And sometimes it makes all the difference of someone being able to purchase the home or not purchase the home is that first year rate. So this is huge. Jacinda, are buyers still entering the market even with higher interest rates?
Yeah, thank goodness rates have come down. Now, the war that broke out this last weekend wasn't super awesome on our interest rates. We did see a little bit of a hit on that, but I'm seeing it stabilizing and starting to come back down again. So the overall trend, though, has been decreasing finally. And your best economists in America are still predicting a lower trend on those interest rates. And this is really important for you right now to know, because once those rates get to a certain point, every little bit of drop will bring tons more buyers into the market. And so the best time to get in is right now, where you can get some of these larger incentives that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. For example, that 3-2-1 buy down that I just spoke about. And you're not trying to compete for other buyers for these homes where you're having to now bid $30,000 over asking price to get into the home. So we're kind of at a tipping point right now. I would assume, please, if you were thinking about this, if this is something in your mind, please jump on it sooner than later, because you're going to regret it if you don't.
Are you seeing more first-time buyers or move-up buyers?
Unfortunately, the first-time buyer age has increased significantly in the last 10 years. Kind of sad in my opinion. And there is definitely both out there. I'm still getting first-time home buyers for sure. There's so many people that want to enter the market and have been sidelined for a lot of years because of the interest rates and the cost of homes. Now, as rates have started to come down, these buyers are now coming off the sidelines. And you do have sellers who have that 2.5% interest rate, 3% interest rate that wanted to, you're going to pry that interest rate from their cold, dead hands, that are like, I'm never moving, have realized that their house doesn't fit them anymore. They really do need to change the structure or the way that it's set up for them for their next phase in life, and are now willing to let that go for more life comfort. And so those homes are now entering the market, which is really needed for our first-time home buyers as well, and then also allowing that inventory to come in. So it's almost neutral right now, but it's still, in my opinion, a bit more of a buyer's market depending on your purchase price. Buyers
should speak with a lender before shopping. That's why having Jacinda come and explain all of this is more important than ever. You need an expert in this industry. It is a lot of money. There are people still buying homes. Utah population growth is still going through the roof. And you need to know the difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval. You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. I'm Heather Osmond, owner of Osmond Designs Furniture and Interior Design Stores. And today we're talking real estate. We'll be right back.
I'm Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial advisory firm in Salt Lake City and St. George, Utah. We're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. 888-999-6370 or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Did you know fluoride is not available in Utah water systems? And fluoride supplements work best from 6 months to 16 years old. A healthy smile isn't just about teeth. It's about health and confidence. Your smile matters. Find resources at yoursmileutah.org.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready to refresh your space for less? At Living Spaces, thoughtful design and direct sourcing keep prices low while quality stays high. With sofas starting at just $295, queen beds from $195, and dining sets from just $295. Updating every room is within reach. Plus, enjoy fast, free shipping as soon as next day. So your new favorites arrive without the wait. Your next piece is waiting only at Living Spaces.
Living Spaces.
This message comes from WaterAid, changing the world through water. Imagine walking miles every day to collect water because your home has no taps, no toilets, no clean water. That's the reality for 1 in 4 people worldwide. Your support can change everything for them because everything, health, food, opportunity, starts with water. Bring clean water to everyone, everywhere. Donate at wateraid.org/audio.
We're back with the KSL Real Estate Show, sponsored by Osmond Designs on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back to the KSL Real Estate Show. We're glad you're listening. I'm Jeff Caplan. Heather Osmond is here from Osmond Designs. Her stores are in Lehigh and Orem.
Yes, they are. And many homeowners today are choosing to either purchase a home or stay in their existing home longer than ever. They are choosing to remodel and refresh their spaces. At Osmond Designs, we help homeowners redesign spaces, update furniture, and stage homes for resale. Today, we are excited to have Jacinda. She is Utah's top real estate loan officer that is on the KSL Real Estate Show with us today, and we are so grateful to have her. She is going to give us some tips and tricks about preparing financially to either refinance your home or to buy a new home. We're going to talk about credit.
Yes,
it's
the
a
mysteries.
hot topic. Yes. What credit score do buyers need to qualify for a mortgage, Jacinda?
Well, technically, we can actually easily get them into an FHA loan down to 500 credit score. But really, you want to be at least above 580. If you're below that, you do have to put a higher percent down. That said, even 640 would put you in a good position if we're going to go with a government loan, which is what FHA is. And then if you're going conventional, we want you probably over above 700, even 720 to get you some better rates in mortgage insurance. But really the credit score itself, I found over the years that most people do not understand what makes up their credit score, what impacts it. oftentimes I find them doing things that actually do the reverse. I remember I've taken many calls where they've called me and we're talking about their credit. He's like, I have such great credit. I've closed all my cards. And I'm like, okay.
No.
So let's talk about what makes up credit then. So what most people don't realize is that, they think, I don't have any credit cards. Like I'm doing so good. And that probably is true. You probably are doing amazing. But if you're trying to use credit to be able to finance cars or homes, you really have to play the game a little bit. And I'm going to show you a few ways to make that still financially make sense and yet boost your score. So one of the things that most people are always so afraid is when they call me and we have to pull their credit so we can kind of see where it's at. They usually are like, oh my gosh, that's going to kill my credit score. I've heard pulling credit is going to kill it. And really, only 10% of the score has anything to do with me pulling your credit. And that will only impact it if you are been a busybody opening up a bunch of credit cards and you're having your credit pulled significantly. When a mortgage person pulls your credit, it's actually good for 45 days, and you could have 500 people pull your credit for mortgages, and it still only counts as one inquiry. So that's not really a factor. If you're going to buy a home, you're really going to have to get your credit pulled at least once, and that's not going to be such a factor. So one of the things that actually affects your credit score is how much you owe on your credit cards compared to how much you can charge on your credit cards.
And I've heard that should be around 30% is maybe the sweet spot of where you want to be. Is that correct?
Yes. If you're over 50%, you're going to get hit pretty hard. So what I mean by that is if you have a $1,000 credit limit, if you owe over $500, that's 50%, then you're going to get hit pretty good on that credit score a little bit.
But that's for all your credit cards cumulatively.
They do both. So they look at it individually and it looks at it cumulative as well. So that's the first one. 30% is also really good, but ideal is 10%. So if you have a $1,000 limit, you would not want to owe more than $100. Now, this is the thing that also people don't understand is that credit is only reported once a month. So they're like, I'll pull their credit. I'm like, hey, it looks like you owe $300 on your credit. No, I paid that yesterday. I'm like, yeah, that's probably true. It's not the current balance, but it was 20 days ago when it reported. So what gets reported to the bureaus is when your billing cycle closes. And if you're trying to get that amount that you owe down so that when I pull your credit, you want to look to see when your billing cycle closes. And you want that balance to be what you need it to be in order to get that credit to pop up on there. But
you don't pay your bill usually for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks later.
Exactly.
The day the bill closes is when you owe the most money.
Exactly. You're the best student I've ever had. You're so good.
Okay, a couple other tricks. Don't miss your payments. Do not do that.
Yes. That I actually am working with a client right now whose husband just doesn't understand that. He doesn't see what the big deal is. and so we actually
had to learn the hard way.
Yeah. I mean, his score was pretty low, and we had to just take him off the loan, and she's having to qualify on her own. Now, I've been working with these guys for a long time, and the wife, she's got her score up 200 points, and she can now buy a home.
Wow.
And we have one under contract, and we'll be closing next week.
How long does it take to get your credit score up 200 points in a situation like that?
Well, there's times, depending on what's going on with your credit, there are times where I can actually pop it up pretty dang fast. If you have lates, that's going to be on there for 7 years. And that's another misconception that people have is they'll say, oh, I closed that card. And they think that now it doesn't count. And unfortunately, even if it's open or closed, it'll stay on there for 7 years. The other part is a collection. So if they've paid the collection off, it's no longer going to show up on their credit report. Unfortunately, that's not true. That will be on there for 7 years, whether it's paid or not. But there is one awesome trick that I'm going to teach you after we come back from the break. That is one of the quickest ways to jump your credit score. It's amazing. I use it all the time.
One of my favorite things in the world is helping families furnish their new homes and get into homes. It's exciting to help them create spaces where memories can be made. Up next, we're going to talk about some loan programs that many buyers don't even know they exist, including some great opportunities for first-time home buyers. Today, we have Jacinda Jacinda, how do people find you?
Oh, I'm so easy to find. I have a unique name, thank goodness. It's Jacinda, and you can call me at 801-847-5810. I own Ultimate Home Lending, so you can look up Ultimate Home Lending. It's your ultimate experience, and I'm happy to chat with you and help you in your situation.
You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I'm Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial advisory firm in Salt Lake City and St. George, Utah. We're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. 888-999-6370 or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Did you know fluoride is not available in Utah water systems? And fluoride supplements work best from 6 months to 16 years old. A healthy smile isn't just about teeth. It's about health and confidence. Your smile matters. Find resources at yoursmileutah.org.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to the KSL Real Estate Show. Hear updates on the national and local Utah real estate markets. We cover residential and commercial properties. Plus, get inspiring ideas to make your house a home from our sponsor, Osmond Designs. Here's Heather Osmond and Jeff Caplan on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back to the KSL Real Estate Show. We're glad you're listening. I'm Jeff Caplan. Heather Osmond is here from Osmond Designs. Her stores are in Lehigh and Orem.
Yes, they are. If you are out and about, come and check us out at Osmond Designs. We have the most beautiful furniture, designer brand furniture at affordable prices. It's really something everyone can afford. We have the high end, we have the low end, and we have lots of price points in the middle. So come check it out. And I think what makes us unique is that 17 of your neighbors are not going to have the same sofa as you. So you can really customize and make your home a reflection of who you are.
I can attest to that. Your stores are absolutely gorgeous. I'm telling you, I drool every time I walk in one of your stores. They are so beautiful. You have the most elegant taste of anyone I've ever seen.
You are so sweet. Jacinda is one of the top loan officers in the state of Utah. I really appreciate the little plug, Jacinda. You're awesome. You're my friend. I appreciate it. In the previous segment, we were talking about ways to increase your credit score, and you were telling us this awesome story.
Oh, well,
let's pick
I
that
have
up.
the best trick in the world. And this, honestly, depending on the person's total credit, this is something I do all the time. In fact, I have one client I'm working with right now that we're doing this exact trick, and it worked. And I've done it hundreds of times. So here's the trick. If you don't have enough depth or like sometimes you just don't have enough positive reporting, you have to keep in mind that the credit score only is trying to answer one single question. Can you believe that? It's just one question. And that is how likely you are to get a 90-day late. That's what the score reflects. The higher the score is, the less likely you are to get a 90-day late. The lower, the opposite. So when my clients have a little bit low credit score, they can reach out to somebody in their family that they trust, such as a parent or sibling. And all we have to do is add them as an authorized user on a credit card that has been open for 5 or more years, that has never had a late, and ideally under that 30% or 10% that we already spoke about. If they do that, I've seen that credit pop up 60, even 100 points if we can get at least 1, 2, or 3 credit cards that they get added on as an authorized user.
Just added. They don't have to spend any money on
Correct.
the card.
Correct.
Whoa.
Yep. What that does is it just copies that good trade line history onto theirs, just like a Xerox copy. And it only goes one way. So the parents are always like, I don't want any of your crap coming onto my stuff.
Right.
Exactly.
So guess what? Good news, that doesn't happen. It just goes one way. So now suddenly they have 3 cards, 2 cards that has this huge, long depth of time that card's been open and a good balance on there, and that score pops up. And I've used that trick many, many times. I've given you some of my best thing right here and to get people ready for buying a home. But that works. It's you can take that to the bank.
Now, does the parent add them to their credit card?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it works. And, after they get what they want, you take them off.
The credit.
Now, you don't have to give them the credit card that comes in the mail for them to go hog wild on, but
It
it's
just got
pretty
lost.
sweet.
I hate it when that happens, right? Or at least you have to have a very tight spending limit on there, $50, whatever, right? That's awesome. Okay, what are some of the most popular loan programs right now, Jacinda?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing that I designed with one of my realtor buddies, and that is the Eagle Mountain grant. So him and I were a part of creating a grant program for first-time home buyers. Now, this, and I know I sound biased because I probably am, but I'm telling you this is the best in the state. I took every city's grant program and I took out all the things that just drive me crazy and I hate and that don't work and are not really usable. And we took all that out, and this is nothing but amazing. Basically, we have $25,000 that we can give first-time home buyers. And this is a silent second lien that goes on their house. What that means is there's no payments owed and there's no interest accrued. This is amazing. And you can use this for down payment or closing costs. This has been a game changer for those who are trying to get into a home. Now, I'll tell you what I hate so much about other places is they make it so that if you make enough money to buy a home, you can't use the program. Like they basically have it what we call under 80% AMI, which stands for average median income. So if you make any kind of money at all, you really don't qualify for these programs.
What's the average? Do you know offhand the average median income?
Well, so the way we have it, we actually are able to increase the amount that you can owe. Make by the number of people in your household. So we actually go up to 120% AMI. That was something that we fought really hard for. So if you're a 3-person household, you've got a husband, a wife, and a baby, you can make $128,250 a year. That's actually doable.
Yeah,
people
right.
can buy a home with that much of income, and so that's made this program accessible and actually help a lot of people get into their homes. So this is one of my favorite programs. I just want to make sure you know that that's available. In Eagle Mountain, I've lived out there for over 20 years. It's an amazing place to be.
And I love that they're just being very progressive about that. I mean, let's try something that hasn't been done before. And you're really blessing your community and helping people afford homes, which is the American dream.
I do administer that program. So if you are interested in that, please reach out to me, 801-847-5810. And we can help get you on that track.
Hearing all these tips, there are a lot of people that are frothing to talk to you. Do you only work in the Eagle Mountain area, or are you statewide?
I work in Utah, all the entire state, also Georgia, Florida, Colorado, and a few other states. So I'm not all the 50 states, but I have several. But yes, anywhere in Utah, I can help you.
That's amazing. Okay, all of us are fairly familiar with conventional, FHA, VA, and jumbo loans. What programs help first home buyers the most, would you say?
FHA is definitely your go-to. However, I will tell you that there's so many people that have found that they can't make enough money by working for the man, and they've gone out and done their own entrepreneur. And that can be a little hard for, your average loan officer doesn't really know how to handle that self-employed income sometimes. And sometimes, you're making money, but you're really not showing it on your tax returns just because you have a really good CPA. So I do have programs that allow you to just take your bank statements and say, hey, look, we can see that the income's coming in here and we can qualify you off that. Even people who, if it makes sense, has just over a year of self-employment. If you've done that similar job, but it was paid by a company, but now you're doing it on your own, I can even do it with just a year under your belt. So there's ways to help you, even no matter what your situation is. The best thing to do is to reach out and start working with someone so that you can position yourself in the future to buy a home.
So how many years of record do you need if, say, you were an accountant and decide to go into woodworking?
That's a little different when you're changing complete industries. That's a typical,
Don't do
2
that.
years of self-employment. But
2 years?
If you were a contractor and you've been working with someone else for a long time, and then you went on your own and you've been on your own for a year, that's something I can work with.
Got it.
I love that. Okay. Other ways that can help you get into a home is getting a cosigner.
Absolutely. Yep. The co-signers are great. Some of these programs do allow you to still take advantage of them, even if you do not have someone who's living in the home with you.
Seller concessions is another one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's explain that.
So what we spoke about in the previous segment about these 3-2-1 buy downs is when the seller's willing to pay money that goes towards your closing costs in order to get you into a home. And that can be really powerful by so you only have to come up with your down payment, which that down payment can also be a gift. And most people don't realize that. Some people are still under the impression that you need 20% down to buy a home, which you can do it for as little as 3%. And that 3% can come from, Daddy Warbucks, when your inheritance from him or from a parent or a sibling or aunt and uncle that are super generous to you. There's lots of ways that we can pull that from. We can also pull it from your retirement accounts. When you borrow money from yourself, we don't actually have to make that count against your debt to income ratio. So you can pull money from your retirement to do a home purchase. You can borrow it from yourself, or you can just pull it out directly.
How much money do buyers really need to purchase a home today? I know that's a loaded question, but.
Well, if you can get the seller to pay for your closing costs, which you can still definitely do that, it's really about a percentage of your purchase price that you can do. Now, this can be varying depending on how much you make, so you know how much you qualify for. What mortgage payment you're comfortable with is a better question as well, and it's going to be about 3% on that.
Earlier you had spoken about people who own their homes have 2.5-3% mortgages, and they don't want to leave. I think you said you'll peel their mortgage out of their cold, dead hands. Yeah. Are there any programs that will get them moving out of that house and into something new without choking on the new mortgage?
Well, yes. If you're in your 60s and higher, you've reached your wisdom years, and the best thing you want to do is have a quality of life. And a lot of times, most of people's wealth is built into their homes. To access that, they're going to have to now start making a mortgage payment, and that may not work for them. So one of the ways that are so helpful, it depends on the person's situation, of course, and what their goals are, is to do a reverse mortgage. What that allows us to do is tap the equity that's in your home without you having to make any payments. You can also do a reverse mortgage with a purchase. So sometimes you sell that home because that home doesn't fit your needs anymore, and you need something that's maybe one level or into these 55 plus communities that take care of, have some amenities for you. Well, you can sell your home, and instead of having a mortgage on the new home, you can do a reverse with the purchase. So you put some of that equity down on that new house. We do it as a reverse. You don't have a principal and interest payment. You still have to pay for taxes and insurance, but the principal and interest is no longer there. And that can be super impactful for you to be able to enjoy those years without having to feel like you have to work yourself till you die.
There are so many creative ways to get into a home. We talked about credit and tips and tricks to increase your credit score, avoiding new credit before applying for a loan. Oftentimes people will go and buy a new car and do all sorts of crazy things. Please call Jacinda. And after you call Jacinda and save a bunch of money, then you can stop by Osmond Designs after you close on a home to furnish and personalize your space. You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. I'm Heather Osmond here with Jeff Caplan and Jacinda with Ultimate Home Loans. You're actually the owner of that.
Yes, I am.
You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I'm Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial advisory firm in Salt Lake City and St. George, Utah. We're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. 888-999-6370 or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Did you know fluoride is not available in Utah water systems? And fluoride supplements work best from 6 months to 16 years old. A healthy smile isn't just about teeth. It's about health and confidence. Your smile matters. Find resources at yoursmileutah.org.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We're back with the KSL Real Estate Show, sponsored by Osmond Designs on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back to the KSL Real Estate Show. Thanks for listening. I'm Jeff Caplan. Heather Osmond is here from Osmond Designs. Her stores are in Lehigh and Orem.
Yes, they are. And at Osmond Designs right now, we have the entire store an additional 20% off for a limited time. Come and bring your truck and trailer and buy what you need. I know it's March Madness. There are a lot of games on right now, and you need a big screen TV. You need a sideboard to anchor that. You need a great recliner and, of course, a sectional. We live in Utah. We have more kids than any other state. So you got to be able to pile on all the family and the dogs and the cats and, all of that. But first, you need a great home that you love to be in. So Jacinda, you have this really cool thing called the 3 Pillars of Success. And I think it's really worth sharing with our friends here.
Thank you. I'd love to chat about that. So my son is in high school and he's taking an entrepreneur class, which I think is fantastic. I wish I had something like that when I went to school. I'm so glad they're broadening these kids' education. They asked me to come and speak at his school, and one of the kids asked me in the question answer phase, what would I have known? Like, what would I wish I would have known when I was his age? And I thought that was such a great question, and I think that's something I would love for everybody to know is this. I wish I would have known that the 3 pillars of wealth come from basically, if you're not wanting to work yourself till you die, you really need to have these 3 pillars. And if you can get all 3, that's great. But however many you can get, the better. The first one is stocks and bonds. That's your first pillar, where you can, it makes money for you when you sleep, right? That's what we're looking for. The second pillar is owning your own business, right? Again, you're looking for things that give you residual income. And that can be something you sell or be working for you. Hopefully you get it built to a point where it's working even when you die, or not when you die, but when you retire. And
when you die.
And when you die, exactly. The third pillar, though, and this is one that I think is so accessible to every person listening here, is real estate. And I think anyone that has purchased real estate has realized what a blessing that is in their life. The reason why is because your home is appreciating sometimes at a really rapid pace, but even during recessions, home values remain stable or increase. The only exception to that was 2008, when that was because it was caused by the home crisis boom, that they had there. But other than that, that is always going to be increasing in value. And the sooner you get in that game, the better. I took a loan application out this last week with a kid who is 19 years old, and he does qualify to buy a home. And I was so glad to see someone that age thinking about their future. And so it doesn't matter what age you are. I did their parents' loan, so they said, "Hey, call her, get her going." And I'm like, man, you have good parents. That is what every parent should be teaching their kids right now, is get into that game as soon as you can. As I've looked at my last 20 years of doing these loans, I've seen people who have got in over their heads in credit card debt. And that can be crushing to people. And they've been able to call me. We've been able to do a cash out. We've been able to pay all of that off and allow them to get out from under that. If they had not bought the home, they wouldn't have had that way out. Again, those people who have done reverse mortgages where their money's tied up and their wealth is tied up in this home, they're able to still retire, not have a payment. But most important, the best financing you get is when you do a purchase and live in that home. So when you buy your next home, if you've been saving the whole time, you can now, again, get your best financing when you buy your next home. And guess what? That home can now turn into a rental. And that rental pays for that asset itself. And then once it's paid for, that is, residual income coming into your pocket. So you can either sell that home in the future or just keep taking that residual income. So I just cannot stress enough, if you're a good parent, if you're young, to please, please, please don't let the most important residual income wealth building tool that's available to you not reach for it. Like, you really need to get in the game as soon as you can.
And, some parents that are listening or grandparents maybe have had those mistakes, but teach your children, talk to them about this, get in the market as quickly as possible, avoid credit card debt, and protect and build that credit score. Now is the time to do it. We all need this in our lives. It's never too late. When's the best time to plant a tree? Yesterday.
Exactly.
Get in the market. You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. How can people find you, Jacinda?
You can call me at 801-847-5810. I'm with Ultimate Home Lending. My name's Jacinda. Again, Jacinda is pretty unique, so you can easily find me if you just Google that name. You can also see where my clients are saying about me. And again, I don't do any advertising. I know that's one of my weaknesses. And so what's great is I make sure my clients love me so much that they are the ones that shout my name.
Yeah, your strength is you know your business, clearly.
Exactly. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your knowledge and expertise with us. You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. I'm Heather Osmond, owner of Osmond Designs Furniture and Interior Design Stores, signing off with Jeff Caplan. We'll be back next week.
If you work in university maintenance, Grainger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Grainger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more, and all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, visit Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.